Hey guys, it's Lee, and in this video we're going to discuss what's the best gear to bring to an engagement session, a bridal session, or maybe a formal session with the bride and groom. What gear should you bring? The reason why I wanted to make this video is because I recently shot a formal session at the Library of Congress, and I was debating on what I should actually bring because you can't bring in tripods and off-camera flash and things like that into the Library of Congress. So I had to think about what I actually wanted to bring, and I also wanted to pack a little bit light. And so this got me to thinking about, maybe some folks out there who are just getting into engagement sessions and things like that, and they might be actually wondering what sort of gear to bring with them. So in today's video, what I'm going to do is discuss with you what is some great basic gear that you should bring to an engagement session or a formal session, right, with the bride and groom, and also maybe some extras that you might want to think about or something that you can add into that sort of mix as you get a little bit more experience and as you get a little bit more comfortable with some of the gear that I'm going to talk about. And by the way, if you're new here on this channel, my name is Lee and I'm a portrait and wedding photographer, and I discuss photography, I do gear reviews, and basically anything related to photography. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, definitely hit the subscribe button. And also, if you enjoy this video, hit the like button for me. Okay, so first things first, I definitely recommend that you bring two bodies with you, right? So you definitely want to have two actual camera bodies with you when you are actually on that shoot. Now, you don't have to necessarily use both bodies at the same time like you might do at a wedding or something like that, or an event, but you definitely want to bring them both with you and have them both nearby just in case something happens. The last thing you want to do is to just ruin a session, with you crying because you broke your camera in the middle of the session. So you definitely want to have those. Now, the next thing you want to make sure you have is a good bag to store everything in, right? You definitely want to have a good bag. Now, if you want to pack very light and simple and you want to have a basic kit for an engagement session, one of the bags I actually recommend is the Peak Design Sling Bag. This is the 6L version. This is a great bag because it is just the perfect size, and inside you can store way more than you would actually think you can store inside. So check it out. So much space inside. Now, when it comes down to the camera that you're going to bring, I do want to say you probably want to have dual card slots. Of course, you can get away with a camera that does not have dual card slots like an A6400 and be perfectly fine and not have to really worry about losing any data when it comes down to corrupted SD cards. But really having dual card slots is really a much safer bet. So again, you can start off with a dual, like just a single card slot if you want to, and then upgrade later. But it's something that I would probably recommend as you start to get into these types of photos. These are going to be moments that are going to be very important to people, and you definitely don't want to have corrupted files or lose the SD card or anything crazy like that. So that's also a recommendation that I have for you. Now, the next thing I'll recommend is definitely you want to have a good choice of lenses. Now, if you're talking about a nice basic kit for an engagement session or maybe a formal session with the bride and groom, a couple lenses that I would definitely recommend and lenses that I actually use might be, for instance, the Sigma 35 f1.4, or it can be a 35 based on whatever camera system you're actually using. But the 35 is a great lens to use. Number one, it's great because it creates some beautiful separation. You get a little bit of bokeh in the background, and then also you're still close enough to your subjects or your couples to actually help to pose them and move them around and reassure them as you are going throughout that session. So the 35 I definitely would recommend, and you probably guessed it, but I also would recommend bringing along an 85 as well. So for instance, I use this 85 f1.8. You can use a fancier one if you want, but I use the f1.8 from Sony, and this also gets some beautiful shots as well. And one of the great things about pairing the 85 with the 35 is that the 35 gets a little bit more of the background, the surroundings. The 85 gets you a little bit more of that creamy background, and also it's this really great lens to use for, again, close-ups, and when they're close together, maybe some kissing shots. You can really use this 85 for shots like that, and you're gonna just be blown away by the results, honestly. So honestly, if you wanted to keep your kit nice and simple and basic, I would say bring a 35 and an 85 with you to the session. Have two camera bodies, maybe only use one during that session, but have the other one nearby. And if you do that, I think that you're gonna have some phenomenal results because you're gonna really be able to focus on the couple and just really get some beautiful shots. Now, I know some of you might be thinking like, oh, well, I like to use zoom lenses and things like that. Now, you can definitely use zoom lenses if you want to. The reason why I'm recommending primes here is because generally these are lower f-stop lenses. They're faster. They're going to get more of a blurry background. You're going to be a little bit happier when it comes down to that end result. And I think your customers might be as well. I think if you really want to get some nice, beautiful shots, definitely go with a prime. Definitely go with a fast lens like this. Now, that is what I would recommend as sort of a basic kit, right? For an engagement session or something like that. But there are other considerations when it comes down to what you might actually want to bring with you for a session like this. Now, instead of bringing, let's say, the 35 and the 85, maybe you might want to bring something like a 50 and an 85, or maybe a 50 and a 135, or a 50 and a 70-200, for instance. So you're gonna get a different mix of different lenses that you can bring, and obviously they're all gonna have different looks. So you need to actually think about the type of shots that you want to capture, the motion you want to show in those photographs, and really what that end result is going to look like. Now, if you want to take your sessions to the next level, I would say you might want to start introducing some other sort of creative tools, right? So you could bring something like a prism to the shoot and maybe get some creative shots that way. Make sure you're looking at your environment and you're finding anything that stands out to you. It can be a textured wall, it can be flowers, and maybe you might want to bring that up to the lens and capture some moments like that. You can use that environment to bring those creative images to life, you know, in that session. And then in addition to that, which is going to take things even further, is going to be off-camera flash. Now, that can be a little bit scary for a lot of people because they're not comfortable with it. I'm going to make some more videos on, you know, off-camera flash and how to use it and things like that. But when it comes down to it, essentially what makes it a little bit more challenging than just using a camera and a lens is that you don't have just one exposure, you have two exposures. You have to expose for the background of the image, and then you have to actually expose for the subject as well. So you're lighting the subject, and then you have to make sure the background is exposed properly as well. That's why things can get a little bit trickier, but your photos are gonna be phenomenal. They're gonna really pop. Your clients are gonna really love them, and it's really gonna help to separate your work from other photographers as well. Now, if you're just getting started with off-camera flash and you're not 100% comfortable with it, I would say you probably can start off with a flash that you might already have, right? So for instance, I have the Godox V1 for Sony. This is a phenomenal flash. It's a round head flash. I love using this. It's great. So you can actually start off using this because it's something you already have. Just get a light stand. You can get something that can actually hold, you know, your actual flash. It could be like the mag grip or some other sort of attachment that will allow you to put this on a light stand. So do that. And then I love the MagMod system, and I actually use it a lot. And I love the MagSphere, right? So you can use the MagMod system, get the MagSphere, and basically what this will do is help to spread the light out on your subjects and kind of soften the light a little bit so you're not getting that harsh flash right on your subjects. And this is gonna really lend itself well to your photos. It's gonna really help them to pop. And again, your clients are gonna love them. So this could be where you start. But if you get comfortable with it and you wanna move on to something a little bit better with a higher refresh rate, more power, I definitely would recommend getting the Godox 8200. This looks just like a Speedlight. It's not much, you know, smaller than a Speedlight. It's actually about the same size, but the power is so much more power. Again, with this, again, you can use the MagMod system, and you can, you know, again, put the MagSphere on here, put this on a light stand, and really just make those photos pop. And I'm gonna put some images up on the screen right now, and these are some of the shots that I've recently taken with off-camera flash. And as you guys can see, it really does make a huge difference when it comes down to the type of images you're getting. Look at how the images sort of jump out off the screen, right? They pop. The separation is there. It's dynamic. It's a much more interesting and beautiful image than if I would not have used off-camera flash. And you know, after you start using off-camera flash, it's gonna be hard for you not to use it, believe me. But if you want to take your images to the next level for these sessions, I would definitely recommend off-camera flash as well. Now, if you made it this far in this video, this channel is probably right at 100 subscribers or maybe just over. I want to thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. I'm super excited for this channel. If you found this video to be helpful at all, definitely hit the like button. If you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this one. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted every time I make a video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.